Federal Drive is presented by GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, proudly providing health and dental benefits to federal employees and their families. Visit GEHA.com.
NASA is testing a new way to bring engineers and technologists into the agency more quickly. The idea is to move faster while still working inside federal hiring rules. Here to tell us how the program will work is NASA's Chief Human Capital Officer, Kelly Elliott.
Kelly, thanks so much for joining me today.
I'm excited to be here. It's always a wonderful opportunity to tell NASA's story, and especially to talk about our amazing workforce.
Well, let's talk about NASA Force. What exactly are you trying to do with this that the current workforce system won't let you?
So NASA has a very aggressive mission. We have a very aggressive timeline, and while we have an amazing workforce to get started, we can always benefit from our country's top talent that's already in industry to come help us move our projects along to solve some of our most complex challenges, but also to mentor and help us to learn from industry's best practices, help our younger engineers develop the skills and talent to be able to carry those projects forward.
Why did you decide to do this inside OPM's Tech Force initiative?
Well, OPM actually had the vision for the Tech Force, and we are partnering in Tech Force as well. So we have, technologists that we've hired as a result of Tech Force, but NASA has a broader mission than what some of those technologists, AI, computer scientists, and engineers can solve. We also need engineers, we need researchers, we need scientists, and so their program was not quite broad enough for what we needed to accomplish for the NASA mission.
And yet you want to work inside the Tech Force guardrails. So you've got a broader scope of expertise, but a narrower set of protocols. Tell me how that works.
So I think what Tech Force has brought to us is, one, a way to amplify our recruiting really quickly. We just announced an aerospace engineering role. We had 2,400 applicants over 5 days. And then we moved quickly to qualify those. 25% of those became qualified for NASA roles that we're exploring further. I think that Tech Force not only is our marketing arm, but they have, under Director Scott Cooper's leadership, they've opened some doors for a broader industry partnership in really talking to industry about our country's and the federal government's need to solve some really complex challenges. They've brought forward industry training that folks in Tech Force and ultimately in NASA Force will benefit. So OPM actually has been, I think, a critical partner to allowing us to move quickly in establishing NASA Force and to develop the momentum that we need to attract the talent.
What's operationally different about the NASA Force initiative compared to what you would normally do? Is it just that broader outreach? Is it a different way of bringing people on board and placing them? Like, how does it play out?
I think it's both. It's complementary to our traditional hiring mechanisms, which we are excited about. We're continuing with those. We are hiring a number of engineers and experts through our other traditional hiring mechanism. But what NASA Force allows us to do is to bring folks in for a 1 to 2 year period of time where they can immediately solve some of our complex challenges that someone that we may hire that's earlier career may not have the skills and the ability to do that. Again, it's about partnering individuals who have a proven ability to solve complex challenges, who have an incredible set of expertise, and who can immediately hit the ground running in mentoring our folks and bringing them to the next level.
So similar to Tech Force, you're thinking about this as maybe a 2-year detail sort of assignment, and then individuals might stay with NASA or they might go back to industry.
Correct. We'll be thrilled. It'll be an individual's choice. We think this can be really pivotal for an individual's career. If we look at some of the exciting industries that we think we would benefit from, this would be an example like with nuclear. So nuclear engineers may not have the opportunity to come and work at NASA for 20 to 30 years on our incredible missions, but coming for 1 to 2 years would allow us to really learn from their expertise and really help move our projects forward, while our employees may have the opportunity to go and work in a nuclear industry and learn in a much faster way than they would traditionally through just the on the job work.
So are you imagining an exchange kind of model here? You talked about NASA
Yes.
employees going out as well?
Yeah, NASA has wanted to do industry exchanges for years, and I think we see a real benefit in our employees learning from industry and our industry coming in and learning from NASA and having that shared perspective as we continue to partner with industry. So we would love to have the opportunity to exchange some talent. Of course, we want to keep our NASA engineers coming back to NASA. But we also think that it's important for someone and a really great opportunity for someone who doesn't want a federal service career for 20 to 30 years to come in. This could be actually really pivotal for their career as well.
Do you have any sort of model for that kind of drop-in, where you're going to get someone from industry and they're going to show up at Johnson Space Center, for example, and they're there on a 2-year assignment? How do they fit in with the existing workforce?
So I think there are some great models. Department of War has had an industry exchange for years. We've actually, I think, have a few pockets of that success. There's a lot of model where federal employees go into higher education or they go into other nonprofit organizations and do that exchange. So we have some great models of success there. And this opens the door for us to do that with industry. So I think this group of individuals that would come at NASA Force would fit in and would be a civil servant employee as part of our workforce. They would be a part of the team. There would be no barriers for what they could work on, what intellectual property we could share with them. So as a civil servant, we would reduce and eliminate all of those barriers, allowing us to move quickly in accomplishing our mission. But at the same time, I think that we would like for them to be a part of a cohort. We'd like for them to benefit from the things that OPM is building as part of Tech Force. But we'd love for them to learn from each other and for us to kind of use that as a core set of individuals to get feedback as innovators, to help NASA not only for the projects that they're doing, but to help us change our culture long term.
Let's go back to the process for a minute, because one of the key features you talked about here is speed and flexibility and bringing people in. Do you foresee any trade-offs between that desire to move quickly and other sorts of screening, merit-based security screening that you might need before you plugged someone into a really sensitive NASA program?
So we are not doing less screening than we would for a long-term permanent hire at NASA. So we are looking for an OPM as well through their Tech Force, our screening for the best of the best. I mentioned we had 2,400 applicants, only 600 of those qualified. So we are continuing with a really rigorous process because we need the top individuals and that really technical expertise in order for us to accomplish. And when I talk about speed, I'm talking about the speed that's necessary to accomplish the NASA mission.
What have you found that helped you speed up that qualification process?
So speeding up our qualification process has really been a key part of partnering with subject matter experts within our leadership and within the organization where the individual would be hired. So as we partner with in a human capital workforce or with our team, we partner with subject matter experts to really analyze the person's background, not only looking at resumes, but participating in an interview process. So we don't anticipate bringing anyone in that we've not fully vetted by the other experts, because it takes oftentimes an expert to be able to ask those really hard questions and really to identify the true experts that we need to bring in.
And along with that, one of the perpetual complaints about the federal hiring system is that it is a black hole. People drop an application in and never hear anything back. You talked about qualifying 600 out of 2,400 applicants. How are you circling back to the folks who didn't get qualified? And is there a chance for them to address whatever shortcomings there might have been in their application and try again?
So absolutely. So we have some automated processes through our technology that once we identify and select from an announcement, then folks are automatically notified. I think what is difficult sometimes for what an applicant might experience is that we oftentimes will leave that open for 6 months to allow us to go back as our needs evolve, as we identify other programs and other projects. And so while someone may not hear back immediately, it's probably because we are holding on to their resume. If they do not qualify, they will get notified quicker than someone that where we are holding onto their resume for, future consideration.
And what is the duration of this NASA Force innovation? Is it just a couple of cycles that you plan to work through this? Do you see it being a long-term program? How will you know if you want to keep it going?
So as Chief Human Capital Officer, I hope it is an enduring program. I think that NASA is one of those organizations that really benefits from knowledge sharing. Our work is not stagnant. Our work and our research is always moving forward. We're always trying to stay on the leading edge. And I think we can always benefit from where industry is going. We can always learn from each other. As long as I've been in human capital at NASA, our leadership has always wanted a really strong opportunity for industry to have the experience of coming into NASA. We would think it makes them stronger, and then we think it makes NASA stronger in bringing in external talent. Just the knowledge sharing alone and the opportunity, you never know when innovation is going to happen.
Well, speaking of learning from each other, I know you're on the Chico Council. Are your fellow Chicos watching what you're doing here and trying to learn so that they might implement similar kinds of initiatives in other agencies?
So I think that there is certainly conversation around that. I think TechForce is a great enabler, and I think that almost all agencies can benefit from what TechForce is offering and the skills and capabilities that they are offering. I think one of the things that's been really helpful for NASA is this is led from our top. Our administrator, Jared Isaacman, has been at the forefront of really envisioning this with the director, Scott Cooper, as a method for how we actually accomplish the NASA mission. I think TechForce certainly is an opportunity. There's not a single federal agency that couldn't benefit from those technology skills and some of the advanced and be able to solve some of our most complex challenges with our IT systems. It's possible that there are other agencies that would benefit also from those industry partnerships. And I think about some of the more technical agencies that we work with, perhaps even Department of War or perhaps National Science Foundation. Some of those more technical agencies, I think, could benefit from a broader exposure to TechForce beyond just the IT and technology skills.
Kelly Elliott is NASA's Chief Human Capital Officer. Kelly, thanks so much for joining me today, and we'll look forward to checking back in.
All right, thank you.
We'll post this interview at federalnewsnetwork.com/Federal Drive. Subscribe to the Federal Drive wherever you get your podcasts.